Hello, YouTube modeling community. This is Rusty Rotor. Uh, this is our year and 1 year into YouTube review. Uh, my pros, my cons, what I wanted to achieve, what did I achieve, and what hasn't been done yet. So without further ado, we'll kind of just jump into it real quick. Sorry, this is just going to be a talking video. You guys, please watch it all the way through. You may get a better understanding of where I'm coming from and where I'm at and all that. There's a lot of you that communicated with me over this past year. That means more to me than anything. There's several people that have gifted me things. I can't thank them enough from the bottom of my heart. Some of them got me out of a little pickle that I somehow worked myself into, and that's excuse me. I just came from outside and in, so normal routine. So we'll start off in the beginning. I had just had surgery. I had just got my shop kind of put together and everything kind of thrown in here. I had a usable workspace, and it just wasn't the way that I wanted it to be. I made some blunderous errors in my measurements and not thinking clearly of what actually is and what space I have, which caused me to, over a period of time, start feeling kind of claustrophobic. It was all closing in on me. I was starting to heal a little bit. We had gone through Acme. We did our pros and cons with that. This year, we're looking forward to a lot better conditions, physical health, and having a little bit of knowledge of how the show works, which is always key. To when we got back, we started into wanting to get the shop redone the right way. Well, as you all know, I messed my back up, not down here, but just from a accident upstairs. My leg gave out. I went to grab myself and threw my back out. So threw it out bad enough that it requires surgery, and I'm doing everything in my power to prevent surgery. So that's kind of where we're at with that. And the leg is healing. It's healed. It's just not. It's not right. So I'm suffering with a lot of pains, inflammation. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of all that. What that's like to go through. It limits my daily routine, my function. Weekend, when stuff's planned to have fun, I'm very limited to what I can do. And that's just limited to me being on my feet and moving around. It's not me being present. It's just limited that way. So, we'd covered my medical condition before. We've covered everything. Pros and cons. We had topics such as Mental Monday. That was, believe it or not, in the beginning, that was the worst video that I ever put out and became the most popular, along with my first ever video, which is really cool. You think about it, because it was something I put a lot of work into, a lot of thought process, had wrote down a lot of notes, did a lot of research, the whole stuff behind every Mental Monday, and it kind of paid off. It really hit really big. A lot of people were looking forward to it. We did fizzle out on that. We are going to get right back into that here soon, and I'll try to work on one every week. So that's in the category of what to expect and what we expect for our second year. We've looked at all my past builds. We've talked about them over and over again. We've talked about a couple of stall builds. I got quite a few more to bring out and show. We brought in a really nice sponsor that really was amazing for the channel. Everybody knows Hobby Nut Models. As any sponsor, there's a behind the door deal type thing. And unfortunately, ours was that hopefully with the link below, people would visit it, purchase something, and it would help both of us, making it a mutual avenue to go down. Unfortunately, I fell short on my end. It just is what it is. Nobody wanted to. I can't say nobody. There was a few people that did go and purchase something, and that was I'm forever grateful for that, and I'm sure Mark is too. It just wasn't enough to keep it at that level. So now we are, and will forever be, as long as Mark will have me, and so on and so forth, an affiliate, which means you can still go down there, hit his great link. It'll take you there. You can purchase stuff. That money will go into, quote unquote, an invisible account. So when I want to purchase something, that will accumulate and hopefully cover shipping, or some of it, or all of it. It all depends. All depends on you great people out there. It's just a way to support the channel. It's just one of a couple that we have, and we'll get into that. So, in the beginning, I told everybody, I want to educate, promote this hobby as much as I can, especially to the youth. And not just to the youth. A lot of people will get biased there and say just boys. No, it's not open to boys. This hobby's open to anybody of any age, of any race, any sex. It doesn't matter. I want to see youth get more involved in it. When I was a kid, I could not believe the number of kids that got involved in the after-school club to build model cars. It was boys and girls of all different races. It was something to do, and it kept me from running up and down the streets and maybe getting in with the wrong crowd. It taught me how to focus, and some hand-eye coordination, and small tool knowledge. So if I can give that back just a little bit, I can be a happy man. I'm not super happy right now because it's not gone that way. Some of it is my fault. Some of it is out of my control right now. But we intend to flip that around and keep that driving forward. Our second step, or third step really, was to pay it forward. An act of kindness, an act of generosity. Somebody needs some help, you help them. I'm in a position where I can do a whole lot more of that, pending, what it is. Of course, I'm not superhuman, but those were my goals. Hobby-wise goals were to get certain builds done, not try to start new ones, and get through at least one diorama, if not two. Well, the back took a lot longer to heal than I expected. Became a lot more personal responsibilities for me, which took up a lot of my time. And I know everybody has those, and that's why this is a hobby. You do it when you have free time. This isn't a full-time gig for me. I wish it was. I remember the days seeing advertisements in magazines, full-time position, wanted model builder, must have so many years experience, must be able to use this, use it. I was like, holy crap, I can become a model builder professionally? And those days are kind of gone now. That's independently contracted out to a lot of great builders that have been out there for, 20, 30, 40 years. And some of the younger generations that build model cars for the box art. And some people within the company that just does it because that's what they love to do. We'll recap. I'm 57, almost 58 years old. I've been modeling since I was 7 years old. Not consistently, but from the time I was 7 years old. So from 7 to, let's say, 14, it was just, whenever I get a model for my birthday or Christmas or, whatever it may be, or I saved enough money to go buy one. So it was sporadic. And through that time, I found a love of automobiles via doing military boats, that kind of stuff. I built a few cars, but, it was just another kit to build. I really was enthralled with helicopters, jet planes, and old pirate sailboats. And I think I take that from my father, because my father, his hobby when he was younger, and I remember being a little kid, he did the ships in the bottle, and just sitting there watching him, because that's all I got to do was sit there and watch him. And then I finally, I was around 7, 8 years old. I asked if I could help him, and he put his tools down and grabbed his glasses and grabbed me by the hand and grabbed his car keys, and I thought, I had really done something bad. And he's like, nope, it's time. I was like, it's time for what? He goes, you'll see. So he took me to the local hobby shop. Back then they were open on Sundays. Uh, I think some still are, but most of them are, it's Monday through Saturday. Some are just Tuesday or Wednesday through Saturday. Uh, and he purchased me my first model. And he said, if you're big enough to ask to help, you're big enough to do one for yourself. So I built it, and he helped me build it, and I had fun. It was time I got to spend with my father. Uh, and then the following year in school, I saw the flyer saying after school modeling club. And I brought it home, and I asked my parents if I could, do this and join this. And they said yes. And it was, basically the cost of a model, a cost of a plain white t-shirt, which I didn't have to buy. My dad gave me one of his, uh, a pair of safety glasses, and there was something else. What was that? I think I had to purchase like a tube of glue. Uh, the paint, they had like kind of a big selection in a box. You could just pick a jar out and use it. Uh, and then there was the fee, which back then was, I think it was like $10. Which seems like a lot back then, but for a whole, I think it was 3 months this went on. But the teacher or the instructor, he was an avid modeler. I can't remember his name for the life of me. Now we're out here on the interwebs and social media, and somebody may have known this person, but I'm sure by now that person has passed on. He was probably in his 30s, maybe early 40s at the time, so I would definitely say he's passed on. But each week he would bring in one of his models and let us review it and look at it, and he'd show us and tell us what he did and how he did it, and he would show us the technique and what we were working on. And people were working on the figurine models, model cars, tanks, boats, airplanes. Cars and trucks. It didn't matter. He was well versed in all of it. So I thought to myself, all through life, that how cool that was that somebody that wasn't getting paid, because the fees that everybody paid to be in the class, all that went for the supplies. It didn't go to pocket, in his money, or pocket money in him on himself. Get my tongue tied here. It just went to repurpose, more paints or paintbrushes, whatever was needed to keep the class going. He kind of just did it out of the kindness of his heart. He was paying it forward. And he told us a story, like within the first 2 weeks of him being like 10 years old, and he had an uncle that was injured and couldn't work anymore, and was disabled. And his uncle had a love of building models, and he would go over there and stay at his aunt and uncle's house, on weekends, and that's what got him into it. And his uncle, I guess, a few years later passed away. Suffered from deep depression. I don't know how he passed away, but he just passed away. And he left all of his model collection to his nephew, which was our instructor. So, long story short, at the end of the class, the teacher gifted 3 students in the class who had done exceptional work, had listened, could answer questions about what they learned, a model. This was from his uncle's stash, I'm assuming, which was really cool. I got I think it was a 1955 Chevy, Bel Air. I don't remember. I think it was AMT, but it's an old one. I mean, we're talking 50 years ago. And that little bit, and that trip to the store with my dad the first time, just sparked a love in me for this hobby. Now, like everybody else, I took a 25 year break, about 25 years, to raise a family. My sons, they dabbled in it a little bit, but they didn't get the fever for it, like I had. Of course, my daughter didn't. They all appreciate it. They all support me, same as my wife. First wife, no. She did not support it all. She hated it. And for that brief period of marriage, everything was packed up, just to try to keep the peace. So, you know, trials and tribulations later, you know, my kids are all grown. They're having kids of their own. And my wife knew that I had a few kids left. As you all know, I've said it before in videos. We were kind of limited on space. I had probably 200 to 300 model kits, and they were just taking up a lot of space. I had some of my favorites put away in a bag, along with a couple others that I kind of just cherished the most. I guess I think I had them the longest. And somehow those got put underneath steps. Another long story short. Well, we ran them. I went and got them appraised. I had somebody come over to the house and look at each one and tell me what the value was, and we added it all up. So we had a figure of what we, should around get for them. So my wife runs an ad on Craigslist, model cars for sale. Too many to list. Come see in person. Reasonable offers accepted. I think that's kind of how it's labeled. Well, a lady contacted my wife and told her a story about her son. I think this young man was about 10, maybe 12 years old. He was autistic. A very bright, very talented young man at 12 that could not focus or sit still for anything but a model car. Well, she had gone to Kmart at the time and purchased him, a couple here and there. And she said when he's building a model car, he's like just a completely normal child. Listens, follows instructions, is aware of what he's doing, how he's doing it, the tools that he's using. So, push come to shove. A year or so later, she sees the ad. She contacts my wife and tells her story. My wife said she couldn't really give her a price. Kind of just look at them and see what you think they're worth. My husband knows what they're worth, so you'll be dealing with him. Well, they showed up, and the little boy came in, and he was sporadic all over the place. I thought he had Tourette's for a while because the way he was just acting, just outbursts, crazy. So I kind of acted real quick, and I got a couple models out, and he just completely snapped out of it. Was honed in, focused. Eyes as big as saucers, mouth wide open, because he kind of walked around the corner and saw the shelf just full of model cars, kind of like you see back here. I think the shelf was 12 feet long, and there was 8 shelves from floor to ceiling, and they were all full. And he was just, like a kid in a candy factory. He was communicating. He was talking to me, my wife, and his mother, just like a normal little boy would be talking. So it kind of tugged at our heartstrings, and we looked at him, and I told her, I said, is there some you see that, you think he would like, or do you want to let him pick some out? She goes, well, what would the prices be? Well, back then it was appraised for like $2,300. And that was just a rough appraisal that I got from a gentleman that owned a hobby shop in the area. And I told her, I said, I'm willing to sell them all. This is kind of what, starting price. We can work from that. And she kind of teared up, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I've wasted your time." I'm like, "Well, no, let's see." I said, she goes, "Well, I only have $35." And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's, let's let him pick out 4 or 5 kits. And you could tell he understood the situation, and kind of, I think he had his hopes up to get all of them. That was the deal. And so me and my wife talked in private, and we agreed to let her have all of them. If it meant that much to a young man and pulled him out of his shell and made him seem normal for even just a few minutes, it was worth every penny. All my time and effort of collecting aftermarket parts and hoping to get one day to get back into the hobby and start building again, all kind of seemed mute. This young man was so appreciative. He was thanking me, gave me a big hug. He was rattling off car parts and types of cars, and I want to build it this way. And I had a big, huge tackle box just filled with extra tires and wheels and just stuff from collecting all over the years. And he just, he was hopping and skipping, and we helped her load it all up in a car, and that was the end of it. So a year down the road, we moved into another home, and lo and behold, I found the bag underneath the steps, which leads us back to all my kids are grown. My wife said, won't you build those models that we found underneath the steps you've been holding on to? She had bought me a paint set and brush set a while back before that time, and she says, do you need anything? And I was like, let me look and see what all was there. And I dug it all out, and I had some glue, I had a hobby knife, I had some paints and paint brushes, and I had, I think, about 4 or 5 kits. So if you remember back of past builds, the orange Corvette, which was kind of like wife's first choice build that I did. The red Camaro, the 68 Camaro, was the first one I built in almost 25 years. Now, I had built a couple in between there, which one is I have up on the shelf here. My father-in-law's Dodge Dually and my best man's replica of his car as a gift for being my best man. Other than that, I really hadn't built. I kind of started a couple, but they just got parts missing from moving them around and everything else, and they just got thrown away, unfortunately. But like I said, there's about 4 or 5 in there. The Camaro, 2 Camaros, the Corvette. There was a Lamborghini. I think just one more. I might have parted it out. So I went through and collected what I could get, and my good buddy, thankfully, had parts for the Camaro, because I was missing a lot of parts for the Camaro. That is the original release from AMT, and I wish model cars had like one of. So if they produced 7,000 of them, one of 6,999, that'd be really cool, and that would add some value to the kit, being one of, first one, second, third. The top 5, of course, would be the most valuable. But life happens. You raise your kids, and now I've got free time again. So my wife said, "Well, do that." I said, "Well, I told her, hey, this time around, if I go into it, I want to go full throttle. I want to do everything I can possibly do that related to model cars. I start off small and work our way up." She goes, "That's fine." She goes, "There's no problem with that." So she was fully supportive. She was even buying models for me. And before I knew it, I had outgrown the dinner table. So I bought some material real cheap, and I built my first desk, which is right here to the left of me. It's where the 3D printing station is. And I worked on that desk for about a year and a half, and it grew exponentially. So I had to build a bigger desk, and I said, if I'm going to build another desk, I want to build everything I need so I don't have to build another one. She agreed to it, and I did it. That's everything you see right now, other than the diorama table and the extension to the paint area. Those both are new that I did during this last upgrade phase, or whatever you want to call it. And to mention that I had to move out of the family room into the garage to give my wife a permanent workspace. So she gave me the whole garage, but I only took less than half of it. And this is really all I ever need, because it has what I would need and what I want to do with the hobby. And I still want to do that. I want to get youth in here, adults. It doesn't matter. Just, I don't know everything. I don't presume to know everything. I'm not flawless. There's flaws in all my work. I've said that many, many times. I try my hardest to, if I have a flaw, where it's not going to be visible to a judge if I enter it in a show. I don't care about other people seeing the flaws, because to be human is to err. You can't do everything perfect every single time. It's just not possible. A lot of guys like to think they are. We all know those kind of people, with how they are. And I don't accept it, not in this hobby, because everything's just too short. And it's supposed to be a fun hobby. So we're still on track for that. The diorama table was built to build dioramas on, or a bigger project, or 2 or 3 more workspaces, just if needed, and a place to store all my building materials, interior materials, that kind of stuff. Just storage. I'm very organized driven. I'm OCD on that, so it really is hard. So now, that was our goals, and the force behind it. And so we fast forward a year later, and where we're at, we still have a lot of those goals. One being finish what you start, paying it forward, however you want to call it. Being supportive, guide somebody, youth, another an adult female or male that just new getting into the hobby, befriending a lot of people via YouTube, and just individuals, just you guys who watch my channel and others. Some of that has worked out very, very well. I've made several friends this year that I will consider lifelong friends. And then there's a lot of new acquaintances that I really look forward to communication with them each time that they comment. Because again, I said, I'm in northern Kentucky. There's modelers around me. I know there is. It's just they're not either on social media. They just build and throw them on a shelf when they're done, or they're not educated on what is available in the world. They just see a model car on the shelf, they pick it up, buy it, and they'll buy a couple of little paints and some paintbrushes, and they go home, and it may take them 2 years to build it, but they did it, and so on and so forth. And there's a few that's come and gone that's been on social media that I knew that lived locally. Right now, I've got a few that's in my club that are kind of local. We don't socialize so much outside the club. Big Will, who I met via YouTube. We do communicate quite a bit through the year. He comes over maybe 2 or 3 times. I've yet to get over to his shop, but he had a lot of personal things going on that limited us of hanging out. Old Tom Rambler 69. I met him. I knew of him before then, but I hadn't got to meet him at the show, and we've talked almost every single week since. Sometimes a couple times a week. And other people that I met at Acme, a lot of people that I knew on Instagram that I actually got to meet in person via the shows, not just Acme, and communicated more with them up through the years. So, that goal has really been reached. And I just want to keep continuing on with that. Meeting somebody, keep the communication rolling with them, befriend, hang out however we can when we can. Because it's just like a kid. If you've got an interest in something, you want to be around people that have the same interest. It's hard to explain your passions to somebody that really don't care, or they have no interest in it, and it's boring to them, and you're just falling on deaf ears. So that kind of bums you out a little bit. And YouTube has always been a source for me for inspiration, for ideas and techniques, and you name it. Same way with Instagram. Facebook, I'll say it again, I don't really care for Facebook. It's too political, it's too religious, and everybody's trying to be nosy in everybody's business. It's not a platform that I care to post my work on. We have a little bit of that on Instagram, not so bad. Well, actually not near as bad. And YouTube here, which I know some people have a lot of negativity, comments, and everything else. I've been fortunate enough not to have it, because number one, I just don't deal with it. I get through the word and realize what's going on, and I delete it, and I block them, and that's the end of it. But it's mostly been positive. But again, I'm one of these guys that I've always had to know how something works, so I got to take it apart, tear it down, see what's broken inside, and then research and find out what that part's name is. And so YouTube is the same way. We've struggled. I came out of the gates running, then we hit a wall, and we've just done nothing but try to climb up and fall back down, climb up and fall back down. All my intentions are great. it just doesn't mean they're all going to come to life. So I've had to kind of swallow a hard pill on that, along with losing, a really good sponsor that was really making things possible for the channel to get better and better and better as it goes. But it's just an unfortunate event that it had to happen. We do have other sponsors. We do have Ryan Jones. He sends stuff from time to time to the show, channel, whichever you would like to call it. It's great stuff to look at, so you guys can kind of see it. Hopefully, get a good look at it when I'm showing it. I'm always open for more questions on it. If you have any more questions, you guys just remember, in the 3D world, anything can be changed in size. Just because I show you a real wide set of tires and you love that set of wheels, whoever's manufacturing or printing those wheels and tires can adjust the size for you. You just have to communicate with them and let them know what you're looking for. Give them correct measurements. Make sure that that's going to fit for you, because that's the worst thing possible is you give somebody some set sizes and they print it for you at those set sizes, and then you get it, you're all excited, you go to put it in there and it won't fit. Well, something was off, because it's not off from the print, because he just went by, or she went by, what you told him you needed. So always be cautious of what you're looking for and what you're wanting. Most things are printed in 1/24th scale, which is a hair bigger than 1/25th. So you've got to be very cautious on those things. Tires and wheels don't matter so much, but like interior parts or seats or just certain things will look kind of out of scale. So when you contact them, say, can you make that in 1/25th scale, or if that's what you're building, or 1/32, 1/48, 1/72, even 11777. Big huge things. 16th, 12th, 10th, 8th. Just be cautious of the scale you're working with if you're trying to keep everything within scale. But we've previewed and reviewed all these avenues of 3D printing, resin casting, not the actual casting part, but discussed the differences, scratch making, scratch building, techniques in paint. We still have some more to touch up on techniques on how I run the wires. We've kind of showed the first stage on my process on how I go through and I drill my holes. I have everything ready, so when I'm ready to put that detail in there, all I got to do is just run my wires. Pretty simple. I've given some pro tips here and there. I call them pro tips because I've learned them from other people that are pretty much considered a pro builder. It's just a term. It doesn't mean nothing. And pretty much everything I set out to do, other than getting some people in here and going, I managed to join a club, which is kind of the same. We talk a lot of model, different things we do to get this look and all that. So I would rather have it on a one-on-one basis than here in the shop where everything is here and ready. I mean, I have I could have 7 workstations fully equipped with tools, glue, paints, brushes, all the extra goodies. And I've offered it to open door. Somebody called me, hey, I don't have a place to work on this model, but I really want to get in the hobby. I'll make space. We just got to work around schedules as far as days and times that you come over and work on your model. But my shop is your shop. I can't play it forward or pay it forward any more than I am without having mutual respect and interest, I guess is the word, into the hobby of doing it. We've started a lot of great projects. We got a lot of great projects going on right now. We're trying to stay along those premises of getting things done that we started. It's so hard. This hobby is so hard. You'll run for months on an idea, and you finally get it, and you get through it, and you get halfway through it, and you're just like, this isn't working the way I wanted it to. So you kind of lose interest in it. That's what I call a stalled build. I package it up, put it back in the box, so I can get my mind right and then I get it back out and work on it. And that may happen 2 or 3 times over the course of a year or 2 years. And that is okay, but always finish what you start, because, an unfinished job is just that. It's unfinished. And not a lot of people like to purchase something like that or look at it if it's not finished. They can't really tell which way you're going with it. I did get my wife involved in it a little bit. She just doesn't have the free time like other people have, and like I have, to work on hers. But she's doing an excellent job. I'm not. I heard Matthew's video, and one or two of his commenters had said micromanaging. It's not micromanaging. I just want to touch base on it a little bit. Matthew's exactly 100% right. It is his wife, for one, his daughters, and his son. And it's not just give them a box and say, go at it, follow the instructions, and good luck. Why would you do that to somebody? That's like you're setting somebody up for failure, that they know nothing about it. They're going to get in there and they're going to get confused or not understand or not know what to do and what to look for. And then they're going to make a mistake, and it's going to be enough that it deters them from continuing on. Helping them, showing them, hey, I did this before and I made a mistake kind of similar to this, and if you do this, you can avoid that. That's helping. That's coaching. That's supporting another person, whether it's family or friend or stranger, in the right direction where they, oh, okay, yeah, I understand, and they do it, and it's like, oh, wow, yeah, that turned out really good. That's positive. That influences them to keep wanting to do it over and over and over again. And they learn, just like we have when we opened our first box, where maybe we didn't have somebody show us. We figured it out. Why does somebody else have to go through all those loopholes of what we went through to be able to build a plastic car or truck? That's ridiculous. That person should have thought before they said the comment. The way he read it is the way it was. He read it. That's the way I perceived it too. It threw me off, and I would have been just like him. Probably I would have been a little more peeved on the return comments. Matthew has a great family. I can't praise him enough for his daughters and his son's involvement, his wife's involvement in his hobby. The growth of his channel floors me. I've watched him from his very first video. He does really good work. He's perfected MCW paints. The mixing, the right amounts of everything to get a nice clean look. He does an excellent job with bare metal foil. He's learned some scratch building now. He's learned how to adapt aftermarket stuff into his builds. That's all part of it. You take one step at a time. But, that negativity, that we need to kind of force all that negativity out. It's not needed or wanted in the hobby. It doesn't help anybody. All it does is make somebody just give up, because what's the purpose of me doing this? Everybody comments is leaving me a bad taste in my mouth, and I know it's not everybody on his channel, but it only takes one rotten apple. That's all it takes. So and there's so many other builders out here that do what I do and do it better. Some do it worse, but I don't range that into categories of judgment. I range that in categories of, hey, that's really cool. What you did right here, that is really cool. How did you do that? I may already know, but I'm not going to let them know that. I'm going to ask them. I'm going to get them flowing again, get their mindset back on what they loved and what they enjoyed about building it, versus somebody saying, well, that looks like crap. Why'd you do that way? Well, what did you think about? No, that all that does is just deters somebody not to even want to do it again. It's like, well, damn, this person thinks that, and he's so and so, and you got to remember, guys. I don't think of myself as an influencer, a content creator, maybe. I'm just a human being that loves this hobby and wants to get other people involved in it. Every waking moment that I have spare time, I love to be in here. But in the same fact of all that said, we got to go back. My original, and I still stay true to it, is balling on a budget. That's my theme. That's what I should have named the channel, was balling on a budget. It's how to build at level of other people that you admire, you look up to, and be able to do what they do. Maybe not as clean or nice and neat as they do, but the materials where you're here with your budget and they may be way up here, where they're buying the fancy, Detail Master braided lines and all the specialty things. We ball on a budget and we save for the things that are the most important to us, the bigger things, the more expensive things. That's what we save our money up for. Meanwhile, we look for the bargains and we look for the deals and we look for things that look just like it, but are a whole hell of a lot cheaper. I think I've managed to do that over this year. I've had tons of comment and feedback on the balling on the budget. People that weren't aware of any of that, people that had used it and said yes, they love using it, all the above. So I can check another box. My biggest thing is due to medical, and I'm semi-retired until I get word from the doctors otherwise. The balling on the budget is the budget part is true. Now, a lot of people say, well, you got money, Rusty. Well, yeah, so what? I don't have a lot of money. First and foremost, I don't. I had to segregate my hobby from my personal pocket because I knew I'd balled on the budget enough that I was good for about 4 or 5 years. And then I'd be back to just building box stock. So you set out to do a YouTube channel, you start thinking, you start doing some planning. Well, hopefully I can pick up a sponsor or 2 or maybe 3 that will lessen the blow of money needed to put into the hobby to keep the channel going. And in return, maybe one day down the road, we'll get monetized. Maybe we'll do Patreon, we'll do a Facebook page, we'll do, all this other stuff. Well, I thought to myself, no, I mean, Patreon, you're paying somebody to get extra stuff that's on here for free anyways. Anything that somebody has a Patreon page about, I can go to another page and communicate with somebody or pick up a technique or whatever for free. Now that I'm kind of set in stone on. Being monetized, well, yeah, it's one way of maybe, offsetting the expense of the hobby. But in the same fact, you have to meet a lot of criteria to get monetized. And we're at 920 subscribers now. We lost another one. 920 subscribers. We're nowhere near hours watched. Yeah, I've got that down pat. Other stuff, I have everything. Subs, no, because we keep going up and down. So I'm not going to even meet the criteria to get monetized. So a long time ago, I threw that out of the books. Not even a thought. Maybe a few years down the road, we'll see. You never know what holds for us. Facebook page, like I said earlier in the video, I hate Facebook, so chances are it's not going to happen either. But how can I support the hobby without going to ask Rick? I'm talking to you as I'm rusty. How, without asking Rick to borrow money to go get something for the hobby? Well, I can go do little side jobs. Just easy things that I can physically handle doing and make a few extra bucks, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. Let's get an account opened. So we did. We opened a hobby account. That's what I call it, the hobby account. So anything I make that's not my job, related, goes in this little hobby account. Any little windfall, something I sell or I make for somebody else, if it's a cash deal, that money goes into the hobby account. That's what I work off of to buy things for the hobby and for the channel. That is not a feasible way of doing it because I can't physically do that all the time to make money. So that well will dry up quick. I don't want to borrow money from Rick, or Jenny, my wife, for a hobby that is very pricey, depending on the route you go. We ball on a budget as much as we can and then save our money for the good things. Well, I'm no different than anybody else. I see something, I want it, and every once in a while I will smack Rick around a little bit and take a few extra dollars and put with what I have, and we'll get something we want, or another little windfall will come in. But how can I promote my channel? Make the channel better, make it grow. Well, that takes money. I'll never be glitz and glam like other channels are. I'm just not tech savvy. I don't have the time in a day to sit down and figure out how to customize and edit my videos and have snap my finger and a little window will pop up and all that. I don't know how to do it. I wish I lived next door to Lucas C. so I could learn. Because it would take a few times me watch and see how they do it and then practicing myself, and then I could do it no problem. I don't have anybody around here that I'm aware of that could help me do that. So we're back to the brass bones. This is me. This is what you get. I've always offered anything you see in the background, anything I've showed on a previous video. If you have interest in it, just all you gotta do is drop me an email and ask for more information on it. I'll be glad to pull it off the shelf, open it up, show you everything in it. If it's something I got plans for, I'll explain it, what I'm going to do to it, what my plans are, so on and so forth. If not, we'll just review the kit and give you a better look, because it may be something, like it's let's just, for giggles, 70.5 split bumper Camaro. You've always wanted to buy one, but you've heard some horror stories about AMT kits and, how it really good. I'll get it out, and I'll be honest with you and tell you exactly how it is. The other great sponsors we have, they're just sending things randomly for us to review and for me to use, and I have to, as part of the thing, you have to use their stuff in builds, or I give stuff away. It's not financially gaining. So for us to move to the next level in YouTube land, since we lost the one sponsor that was helping by bringing some good new things every month to the channel, other methods, which was some merchandise maybe. I found a great lady that does really high quality work. She's super nice. She's a full-time nurse. She's a frontline servicer and an all-around great lady, and that's what I like to stand behind. So when I know if I'm purchasing something from someone, I'm getting high quality and they're putting their best foot down forward on that product, and she's just one of those. $20 plus shipping for a t-shirt is not bad at all. You're getting something for your money. I'm not asking you for money. It's a great t-shirt. It's got a pocket, which is really handy. It fits good. It's extra long, so it doesn't shrink up over your belly. Most of us older gentlemen are a little heavier. Some are lucky and get to stay thin through their life. But overall, a nice t-shirt. And I've bought t-shirts that cost more than that with hot rods on the front of it. Concert t-shirts. So it's not bad. So I was like, hey, that's really good. She said, there's a catch. We need at least 10, because I don't order in bulk. I order per order. And it's got to be a minimum of 10. I said, well, okay, that probably won't be a problem. We'll see. We've had three people interested in it. One person interested in the hat. None of the coffee mug yet. And I've not had the hat or mug made yet. She's working on it, but she has other orders ahead of me. So, I can't wait to get those so I can show them to you how they look. The color choice is pretty good. Pink, white, gray, and black. I think it's a light gray, like a normal light gray t-shirt. And nothing more. It's a t-shirt to wear. It's a piece of clothing. Go change your oil in it, mow your yard in it, whatever. But it's got my logo on it. So yeah, it promotes my channel a little bit, hopefully. A little kind of extra advertising. And hopefully it'll bring some more people in to want to watch the channel. It boosts our things. It keeps our channel in the higher end versus in the lower end. And that little bit of money, $3 per order, or $3 per shirt, is what the channel would make. I'm being honest. Some people may criticize me for that. Some may not. I really don't care. But it's honest. It's like $3 a t-shirt. That's enough for me to buy a model kit. I don't get great discounts. I'm no different than you guys. I go to a store. If it's $29.95, I'm paying $29.95 plus tax. If I go to Hobby Lobby, I might have a 40% off deal, which really helps. But model kits range from 24 to $30. Some more than $30. Some less than the 24, like Ollie's. You can catch a $13 deal. Just a couple years ago, it was $10. Now they've gone up $3. We can thank COVID for a lot of things and cuss them out for a lot of things. COVID boosted this hobby. Everybody had a lot of time on their hands, time that they didn't know what to do with, which was good. It brought in a lot of new, more aftermarket guys coming up with great ideas, things that hadn't been seen in the lines of decals. More people asking and requesting model kits, falling back in love with the hobby, now are back at it full time, or as much time as they have to spend on it. That's what I've seen in the past year. Even though COVID was longer than that, but that's what I've seen. The what I hope for. Let's just put it that way, and we can wrap this video up. Rusty Rotor's Model Car Garage. Hope and expectations for this year that the merchandise starts picking up a little bit. We can get maybe 2, 3, 4 orders out of 10 in each order. That means that I can get some things for the channel and excite you guys. Challenge me a little bit in ways. I love input. I'd like to see you build this. If there's enough interest in it, we're definitely going to do it. If it's just one person, probably not, but I'll be glad to share my thought process about that via an email with you. And maybe somewhere down the road, it might be enough that I just go get my own and do it, and we'll share it and communicate about it as we go. But that's one thing, because that helps. That takes a big burden, because me doing this, like, this is a long video. It's going to be an hour long. So make sure you watch the whole video. Even if you can't watch all at once, come back to it. And I've always struggled with that from the beginning also. And I want to get into where it's about a 15-minute segment and then maybe a 45-minute segment each week. And I've been working and taking notes and figuring out ways to do that. That's going to help. But it takes help of everybody. I support you, you support me, so on and so forth. And it keeps the hobby alive. It keeps everything going. It's no different than out in the world. You go buy a pair of gloves from the store. You just supported that business by buying a pair of gloves. What'd you get out of it? You got a pair of gloves to keep your hands warm. I'm not asking for anything different or above and beyond that. I don't need free stuff sent to me. If you want to and you're just set up, that's fine. I'm appreciative of everything I get. And I will always find a way to incorporate it into something I do or something I build. That's just me. There's a lot of people that will just get and give nothing in return and just keep getting. And, I don't agree with that, but that's a whole nother story. But we're on track for kind of where I want to be. A lot of it's still up in the air because of medical. The channel itself is up in the air because of financial support that I need to keep this all going. I don't put a lot of money in editing. I don't put a lot of money in the glitz and glam. I don't put a lot of money in kits. I kind of start off, I have over 400 kits. I'm 57. I'm not going to get through all those. I should get through about 90% of them. But I don't want to add more and then create more work for a family member down the road, if you know what I mean. I look for particular model kits now that I've always had an eye on or an interest in, or and not just overindulge and just keep getting them type thing. So, by all means, if you're new to the channel, go back and watch my very first video. Watch all of them as whenever, however you can, and get caught up to today. Everything kind of falls in sync. We recover things from past videos. We talk about stuff for the future. You hit that bell notification. When the videos are all come out. Drop a sub. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take up space where you make, I want to subscribe to this one, so I need to get rid of this one. No, that doesn't matter. Just, every once in a while, watch a video. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think about this video, what we've done in a year, what we'd like to do in the time coming, where we're at right now. We're focused right now, driven on the Corvette for Acme and Jay's commission build, and we got quite a few others sitting around here that they're either halfway or 3/4 done that we need to get them finished up so we can make room for the next projects to come down. Because like I said in I think my first or second video, I'm all over the place, guys. I can talk about one thing in the beginning of the video and start talking about it again at the end of the video. And some people may watch and go, hey, man, just watch the video. You got 10 minutes? Watch 10 minutes of it. Come back and pick up from where you left off and finish it. Or do another 10 minutes. There's videos that are 2 hours long that I got to watch maybe a half hour at a time when I have the time to sit down and watch it. But I watch it all the way through. It's mutual. All these, whether you're content creators or whatever you want to call us, we take the time to make this video. That takes time away from the hobby. And in return, we ask that, if you're interested and you sit down and you watch, take the time to watch the video. Get the full knowledge and the gist of the video. I'm at 130% in agreement that you may not have an hour to just sit there and watch one of my videos all the way through. There's a lot of you that do. But for you that don't, watch what you can, then come back and finish watching. When you have some spare time, get caught up on some other videos. You'll kind of know where we're going, what direction we're going in, what we're working on. I'm not seeing nothing exciting. I just hear you talking. Well, yeah, because I've been gone for a week. I've not had anything to work on. So there's nothing new to show yet. I don't want to be one of these guys that come on every month or every 3 months and, oh, look, I finished this car. I like to talk about what I'm doing. Things that maybe it's pissing me off at the time. Things that I'm looking forward to. It's all model related. So kind of different than everybody else, I think, because I watch a lot of 50, 60 different channels I watch. And I like to think that I'm different in many ways than other guys. Not even including my skill in model building, just the way I perceive things of modeling, things I buy for modeling, that kind of stuff. And that's what this channel is about. You want to watch just nothing but build from beginning to end. There's plenty of channels to watch that do that. And I watch them too. I'm just not that. I'm not that guy. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I've been trying to put this together for a few months now. And it's been weighing on my head, how to do it. So again, let me know. The thumbs up, thumbs down, comments below. If you think it's going to be too far or too long of a comment, my email is always down there. Go to my email, send me an email, and I'll communicate with you. Help you understand if you don't understand what I'm talking about, any questions you have, anything like that. I'm an open book. And be supportive to the guys that are in the community. These guys are creating great new, fascinating parts for us as builders. Designing and creating new lines of paint, glues, and you name it. But all that takes support of everybody, not just you as a viewer, but us as builders, viewers, creators. We all have to support each other in one way or another, or it's like kind of like a domino effect. We lose what we really like to see and hear. So that's just kind of where everything's at. But get a minute after you're done watching the video, go down and hit those links. Go out and check out Hobby Nut Models. Man has a lot of stuff. He's out of stock on quite a bit right now, but it's all incoming. And he has a section that's incoming, new arrivals, used kits, all your tools and supplies. I don't think you'd be able to go there and not find something you want or need. Ryan Jones, check out his site. MSDF Model Parts, Upscale Hobbies carries them now. You go check them out. Great, fantastic looking parts, high detailed. Iceman Collections, Text 3D. I could name off a lot. they're all great suppliers in this hobby, and they're all worthy of a little purchase here and there to help them keep it going. And at the end of the day, that's what they're doing, is creating something for us. In return, we purchase something that keeps them going. In Rusty Rotor's case, if you guys want a T-shirt, by all means, send me an email. Once I receive enough to get her to place the order for the shirts, then I will ask for the payment. As soon as the T-shirts are done, they will go in the mail that following day. You will get a tracking number. I don't do something, or I don't. If I say I'm going to do something, I don't not do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not a scam. It's, you can ask anybody that's gotten something from me. If I say I'm giving it to it comes. You're getting it. And I don't offer something that I don't stand behind. Kind of old school there. A deal on a handshake type guy. That, if you tell me you're going to do it, I expect you to do it. And it's the same way around. If you ask something of me and I say I'll do it, I will do it. As long as it's within reason. And that's up front, so you know in advance. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're looking forward to kind of getting back in here and almost full time at it, or have certain days I know that I can count on that's dedicated to be down here. I'm doing my best to get the Corvette done before Acme. Right now it's looking no, but we'll see. But you guys stay tuned. We should have an update hopefully at the end of this week. I'm going to get some work done on the Corvette right now, and we'll see where we get with it and what we can get done. So again, I hope you enjoy this and get some modeling in. Support somebody if you can. Take somebody underneath your wing. And it's a good feeling, guys. It really is knowing that you helped somebody out or you showed them something. It's one of the best feelings in the world. So that being said, this is Rusty Rotor. I'm out.